Shorter intro this week than last week. I was like listening to our intros on Spotify, and I'm like, this is really long.
Yeah, it's not really necessary if we're not doing live.
Yeah. You're absolutely right, but that's okay. This is one big learning experience.
Yeah.
Especially with last week being our first non-live podcast. I think we still got a lot of wiggle room to work with. I still have to work on an intro sequence. That way, if we're doing pre-recorded, I just slap the intro sequence in the beginning of each recording and call it a day, basically.
Right.
And we can just hop right into the podcast. But for the meantime, we're still doing it the ghetto way, the ghetto intro to the Let's Talk About It podcast. Now, I've lost track of which episode we're on. I think we're on episode 5.
I believe.
Season 2, episode 5?
I believe so.
The only way I keep track of that is if I look at our Spotify playlist now. Or our YouTube. Which is another reminder. Go to our YouTube if you wanna catch the podcast on YouTube, if that's your preferred method of listening to things. But Spotify's not your jam, then that's totally cool. Of course, we just want to make it accessible as possible to everyone who wants to listen. So yeah, tune in on there. But we'll skip the plugs for all of our social media and stuff like that today, and we will go right into the podcast for your regularly programmed news on tech and the gaming industry. We are your hosts. I am Pedro.
And I am Ruben.
We got a lot of juicy stories for y'all today, especially me in the tech sector. Not as technically inclined as the past stories that I've been sharing. I've been sharing a lot of like industry, tech industry and tech news that has to do with like understanding, GPU architectures and release dates and things like that. So I figured I don't know how many people actually enjoy that part of the podcast, the highly technical portions. So I my goal is to get a little bit more silly with the stories that I share on the podcast. So without further ado, we will jump right onto that as soon as I can bring up my document with my show notes here, which is actually the first time I've used show notes in probably 8 episodes. It's been a while. It's actually been a while. But alas, change is good. Organized change is good. Story number 1 on the tech news for today. YouTube, or Google rather, actually just posted the first revenue and money numbers for what YouTube is bringing in business-wise, for the first time ever, which is interesting because you'd think that Google and YouTube would publish their earnings as a company more often, but no, this is actually the first time they've done it, and the numbers are kind of surprising. So YouTube is a $15 billion a year business for Google. $15 billion, which is nuts.
Yeah.
That's so much money.
That is a lot of money.
Especially for YouTube. I'd be very, what's the word I'm looking for? I would not be surprised if they said, $1 billion, $2 billion, or even $3 billion, but $15 billion for YouTube, that's a lot of money. $5 billion of that is actually ad revenue in the last 3 months. Now keep in mind, this is February. So since November?
Yeah.
2019? Since then they made $5 billion in ad revenue.
Oh my gosh.
Ridiculous. Yeah. So this is part of the Google's parent company Alphabet and their fourth quarter earnings report. And this is actually something that was not necessarily ordered, but put into place by the new CEO of Alphabet, Sundar Pichai, which if you've seen Google keynotes at their conferences, you'll know who Sundar Pichai is. So interesting stuff that was mandated by him. One of the things that he's been working on in order to rehaul Google as a company, and Alphabet, the parent company of Google. So this is really and my Google Assistant just went off just because I said Google. But this announcement of the money that YouTube makes is the first time in YouTube's 15-year history under Google that they've published numbers like this. Now, as a reminder, Google bought YouTube in 2006 for $1.65 billion. So
safe to say.
Safe to say that since then they've made their money back and then some, which is nuts. To me personally, the only $5 billion in ad revenue leaves me wondering where the other $10 billion came from.
Right.
Because that's how YouTube and YouTubers make their money, is the ad revenue.
I would imagine maybe royalties, like they gotta scoop some from the top from somewhere, I would think. Yeah, and I imagine, now that I think about it too, probably lots of media deals with YouTube TV exclusives, hosting videos for the big cable TV companies, like a YouTube channel for Jimmy Fallon and all those other late night shows. I'm sure they drive a lot of money, and YouTube demands a lot of money in return. Another cool thing about this $15 billion number from YouTube is that that's actually roughly 10% of all Google revenue that comes from YouTube. So 150 billion is what Google brings in, and 15 billion of that is straight from YouTube. Those figures make YouTube's ad business nearly 1/5 the size of Facebook's, and more than 6 times larger than all of Amazon-owned Twitch. Wow.
So, yeah, that's huge. So, that makes sense when you think about the streaming side of it. Lots of people are making the push to stream on YouTube.
Yeah.
Especially with the lucrative offers that Twitch gives out and now Mixer. But still, that's huge. It's so much bigger than Twitch.
I'd be way more interested now to see their past year, profits.
Yeah. I'm interested to compare next year's quarter 4 earnings reports to this report and to see how YouTube is doing, especially when you consider the fact that a lot of famous YouTubers left the platform or are leaving the platform. Mm-hmm. For example, PewDiePie, he's probably the biggest one in the platform. He obviously had an impact on this $15 billion revenue, and he's not going to be here this whole year. So is that really going to affect YouTube? We'll see. Especially taking into account, on top of that, the whole YouTuber ad-friendly adpocalypse that happened recently. It's happened a couple times, but this most recent one, we'll see how that affects next year's quarterly earning reports compared to this one.
I'd also they don't even have to release all the past year's profits, but it'd definitely be way interesting to see the first year after Google bought them to now.
Yeah.
Because it's got to be a major difference.
It's got to be. It's got to be. I mean, before Google bought YouTube, YouTube was basically a video hosting site.
Yeah, and it's not online advertising to the point where it is now was nowhere near as popular. So, I mean, I'd be curious to see if they even passed 4 or 5 billion in their first year.
Yeah. I definitely don't think so, just because that happened such a long time ago. 2006? Where was I in 2006? I was 11 years old, starting middle school?
Yeah,
maybe. So that's crazy, absolutely crazy. More interesting numbers on this story, by the way. Google says that YouTube has more than 20 million subscribers across its premium YouTube subscription program and Music Premium, and it has more than 2 million subscribers to its paid TV service, which I think is really, really interesting. I don't know the numbers for traditional cable TV services and how 2 million compares across the board with other traditional TV subscriptions, through Comcast or DirecTV or whatever. But 2 million, that's a strong number, to me at least.
Especially for YouTube. I feel like YouTube's kind of been the bottom of the barrel when it comes to that kind of stuff. Yeah,
and the whole philosophy behind YouTube is that you can just go there and watch videos free.
Yeah.
That's interesting that there's 2 million of the YouTube TV subscribers and then even more of their YouTube Premium. I think that's very interesting. To me, at least. Because, I would never give YouTube money. That's just me, though.
You know what's funny? You know who does actually have that is Jason.
He has YouTube Premium?
Yeah, he hates advertisements so much he pays for YouTube Premium.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Does he know about AdBlock? I'm just kidding. I know he does.
I was like, I'd imagine so.
I hope he does, but I don't know. Jason's a good guy, but none of us know everything. So, but yeah. So enough about Google. Really, really interesting stuff there to learn for the first time from Google. Second story on the tech platter for today is the announcement of NVIDIA's GeForce Now cloud gaming platform. It is a direct competitor to Google Stadia, which we all know and have discussed on this podcast, which was a complete and utter disaster.
Yeah.
And that was the consensus across the entire tech review sector, is that Stadia is just a mess right now. Between the latencies and the promises that Google made that weren't fulfilled, everything from the negative latency, the negative latency freaking, claim of Google Stadia, and then the data caps that are inherently put on customers who use Stadia and want to play at a high resolution, use data really fast, and from there, the launch of Stadia being an absolute mess as well, with keys not being delivered, and the service not working on day one for hours at a time. It was a mess.
And then not to mention, the games not hitting the resolution they were told, and it just wasn't delivering well.
Yeah. Yeah, it was absolutely not delivering well. And not only was it performing not well, but it just didn't live up to the promises that Google made. Now, NVIDIA GeForce Now is very interesting because it's actually pitched very differently from Google Stadia. Google Stadia was pitched more as a complete replacement to anyone's PC or console gaming experience, whereas GeForce Now is actually meant to be a supplement to what you already have right now. NVIDIA's GeForce Now links with your Steam, Epic, Battle.net, and Uplay accounts to piggyback off of the games you already own on those accounts so that you can play them anywhere using the cloud, essentially.
So it's basically Steam Link, but for everything, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Ooh.
Although I haven't extensively used Steam Link. And NVIDIA's GeForce Now has a free version of it, which allows you about an hour of play a day, and you get put in a queue to play the game that you want to play. But it's free, which is really cool. Above that, there is a paid service which gets you 6 hours of play, and I believe you're placed in a high priority queue, so you don't have to wait as long to play your games. But again, the queue system is just so that not one person is hogging up most of the data center.
Dude, that queue's probably wild.
Yeah, I'm sure right now it's wild.
And then is it? Because I personally haven't read much on this. Is it supposed to be like Stadia, whereas you can stream from anywhere? Because I have tested Steam Link, and the way that seems to work is you can stream to any device, but you have to be on the same Wi-Fi.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's not the case with GeForce Now.
So it's from anywhere?
So it's a server-side hosted streaming service for any of the games that you own. So basically you link your accounts, the game is downloaded onto GeForce Now servers, and then you stream that game to whichever platform that you're playing on.
Ooh.
And it's very, very forgiving. The tech behind this is actually really interesting when you compare it to Google Stadia. Google Stadia uses a data center that's comprised mainly of AMD Vega cards, if I remember correctly. Whereas here for GeForce Now, obviously NVIDIA is using their own hardware. They're using RTX Titan cards, which are vastly stronger than any Vega GPU that AMD has put out ever. And they have ray tracing support. So in GeForce Now, you can actually play games with ray tracing enabled. And if you care about that, then it's an extra, chip that you can kind of put in there and add to your gaming experience.
I would literally do that just for Minecraft.
Right? Yeah, Minecraft. No kidding, dude. I actually really want to play Minecraft with ray tracing. But yeah, so apparently the recommended settings for playing games. If you're playing at 720p at 60 frames per second, NVIDIA recommends a 15 megabit per second internet connection, which is totally doable for most people in the US, at least. That's like that's a basic tier internet service in most markets. And I believe it's 30 megabits per second for 1080p 60 frames per second. So not bad, not super stressful. And apparently from what people have been saying and have been testing out for GeForce Now, it works fairly well. I read some reviews, especially from Low Spec Gamer on YouTube, and throughout his testing, testing in different countries, including the US and Mexico, across different types of internet connections. Of course, the better internet connection you have, the better the experience is going to be. But even on terrible internet connections, the experience was still playable. With, increased lag in there, but that's expected. That's kind of the nature of this streamed game platform. One extra thing to mention about GeForce Now that's really nice is that there's also GeForce Now on-demand games with the service, which doesn't require you to have the game downloaded on your Steam or anything. It's just games that are already available through the GeForce Now servers that you can just hop in and play without downloading to the data center, so to speak. So that's really nice. As far as games that are on there, I'm not too sure. I don't have a list of those full games, but and the games do have to be supported through their native environments like Steam or like Uplay or anything like that. But I expect that to be rolled out here pretty soon as the adoption goes up, especially if this kind of sticks on better than Stadia has. Then I expect it to receive more support and for more games to be on there.
I'm very curious. Like, I want to get my hands on both because I feel like people are going to be a lot more lenient toward the NVIDIA one just because it's in beta, and when Stadia released, they didn't call it a beta. They said it was a full release, which pissed a lot of people off. And B, when Stadia released, obviously they probably had a lot that they weren't expecting, and their servers got overloaded. So I'd be very curious as to if NVIDIA Now was to go on to full release, if the experience would be the same.
Yeah.
Because obviously if they're testing it in different waters, then there's too many variables to say for sure if NVIDIA's is going to be better, or if when it fully releases, if it's going to be the same as Stadia.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, GeForce Now, it is fully available. This is the release.
Oh.
It's not even in beta. This is it. So this is the full release, and it's already receiving better reviews than Stadia.
Okay.
Now, one important thing to point out is that, and Low Spec Gamer did this as well. This is great for people who have if you want to game on your phone, or in the case of Low Spec Gamer, he gamed on and used the NVIDIA GeForce Now service on his GPD XD gamepad, which is a Nintendo DS sized and styled Windows 10 machine. Has a screen, it has a processor on there, very low spec, of course. It doesn't really handle anything on its own except opening a web browser and checking Facebook and stuff like that. But with NVIDIA GeForce Now, he was able to use this little gamepad looking thing that isn't inherently powerful to play his games through there and stream it through there. So that actually got me really excited, especially considering the fact that this little Windows 10 gamepad thing is $230. That can make PC gaming, quote unquote, very accessible to people.
Yeah.
So if this is the future, I'm all for it. If games are more accessible to people, then that's great, especially for paying a service that's $5 a month, and in this case paying $230 for a GPD XD gamepad. That's cheaper than any gaming PC that I've been able to build that can handle those games.
And if it's getting the reviews, if it holds up to the reviews it's getting, I mean, it's cheaper than buying really any system.
Yeah, especially like a current gen console. A PS5 is like what, $400 still, $350 maybe.
PS4.
or is it? Yeah, PS4. I'm jumping the gun here. I'm assuming the PS5 is going to be like $500-$600. Same thing with the Xbox Series X, whatever they're deciding to call it now. But they'll be expensive, and so this is a fraction of that price, which making gaming accessible to more people is a priority to me in a society where we're moving towards more affordable electronics when it comes to the bare bones electronics, resistors, capacitors, silicon. All of it's reducing in price and is more efficient processes than they were 20 years ago, 10 years ago, even 5 years ago.
Do you play, I'm guessing, by accessing their website and logging in or signing up or whatever?
That's a good question. I actually don't know, only because GeForce Now has kind of been in the works for a couple of years now. The last time I tried it was on my NVIDIA Shield TV console. That was hooked up to my TV, and that kind of had like its own client to it.
I'm very curious, just because I'm wondering, since he was playing on that, I'm wondering what else you'd be able to get away with if you only need a web browser to play.
Yeah, probably your phone, if that's the case.
If you'd be able to get away with like buying an old school PSP.
Oh, dude, you're right. Dude, that'd be sick. Buying a PSP for like $40 on eBay.
Playing Red Dead Redemption 2 on it.
Yeah. Dude, that'd be dope. Not gonna. I have to. Someone has had to have tried that already. If it's browser based. The only thing is that the PSP browser is inherently limited, so I don't know if it would accept like the plugins necessary
True.
to run that on a browser. But it's still a good observation.
Well, then maybe the Vita was handheld, right?
Yeah, the Vita.
Maybe on there then.
Yeah, I was thinking the PSP Go, but the Vita's newer than the Go. But yeah, maybe the Vita. That's entirely possible that the Vita could handle it. Maybe this will revive the PSP Vita in the US. but yeah, interesting stuff there with GeForce Now. Moving on to the third story here in the tech news, more coronavirus and its impact on the tech section. So last week we talked about factories shutting down in order to prevent the spread of the coronavirus. And so now the new thing that the coronavirus is affecting in the tech sector is actually Mobile World Congress, which happens every year. Kind of like how CES happens every January every year. Mobile World Congress happens, I believe it's every March. Don't quote me on that, because I haven't kept up with Mobile World Congress in a couple of years. But Mobile World Congress is the tech show where all of the manufacturers of phones go to show off everything, minus Apple, because they have their own WWDC where they announce everything, which from iPhones to Mac Pros or whatever. But for the rest of the world, Mobile World Congress is the place to show off the new, Samsung Galaxy. It's the next place to show off your next big phone, and at least to get people hyped about new concepts for new phones. So with the coronavirus happening, a couple of companies have actually backed out of Mobile World Congress. Big companies like LG and ZTE, they've actually said that they're not going to attend because of the coronavirus. Now keep in mind that Mobile World Congress takes place in Barcelona, Spain, not of any of the Asian markets, but a lot of the companies have Asian reps and are Asian companies, like LG, they're Korean, Samsung, Korean, ZTE, Chinese, but just some specs on Mobile World Congress. More than 100,000 people from nearly 200 companies go to Mobile World Congress every year to basically hear the newest announcements and latest and greatest in the mobile world. It used to be like tablets were a big thing at Mobile World Congress, but tablets are kind of dead, so they kind of it's become a phone thing. So yeah, LG and ZTE have canceled their plans for the show, and it's expected that more are also gonna cancel as well. Some companies that are expected to cancel but have not officially done so are more Chinese mobile companies like Xiaomi, Vivo, and Honor. They have not canceled their plans, which leads us to believe that they're still going to go to Mobile World Congress. So we'll have to wait and see.
I'm surprised they wouldn't try and find out. I mean, they probably did, who am I to say, but, like, even if you're not going to go, I'd try and pay extra to be there, like, virtually, like, do a video.
Yeah, like a video conference or something like that. Yeah, especially when you're trying to drive interest to your company, it's a huge missed business opportunity to just not do anything about it. So I definitely agree with you there. Companies that said that they are going to go regardless of this whole stuff are companies like Qualcomm, Lenovo, and Motorola, which are all, I think, with the exception of Qualcomm, Lenovo and Motorola are Asian companies as well. So interesting stuff. I think there's something more than the coronavirus going on than these companies are leading us to believe that they're not going. But that's like conspiracy
Maybe
theory.
They're just financially suffering.
Yeah, from those days that the plants are not working, you have to send the workers home. That's like millions of dollars every hour that they're losing, probably, based on that.
And then if they were rushing, like, crunch time to try and put out a new product before this, and now they know they're not going to hit the deadline.
Yeah, that's true. As far as like official statements as to what's going to be different at Mobile World Congress this year, they are taking precautions to not spread as many germs. I guess they're being more germ friendly. The official statement from Mobile World Congress is as follows: there's minimal impact on the event thus far. Mobile World Congress Barcelona, the 24th through the 27th of February of 2020 will proceed as planned across all venues. They also said that they're implementing a no handshake policy. So you can't shake hands with people. And that's kind of impractical and hard to enforce, right? And they're also implementing a new microphone changing protocol for people who are speaking on stage. So probably disinfectants or changing out new microphones, new sanitation processes, and that. So that's going to be a damper on Mobile World Congress this year for sure. I haven't paid lots of attention to Mobile World Congress as far as like the big three conventions throughout the year for tech that I look for, which is the Consumer Electronics Show, Mobile World Congress, and then Computex. Computex is like where we get all of like the consumer PC grade stuff. That's really, really good. But for Mobile World Congress, it's going to be different. It's going to be weird, I think. So we'll see how it happens for this year. One extra thing on this is that Asian people around the world are experiencing marked increase in xenophobia and racist attacks due to the coronavirus. It was something similar to what we saw with the SARS virus in 2003. Employees of Chinese companies make up a huge portion of the 100,000 plus attendees at Mobile World Congress every year. And so because of the sickness and because of the slight racism that comes with it, it's going to be different. So I don't know. I'm still keeping my head up as far as the companies making announcements. Even if it's not at Mobile World Congress, they're going to announce it anyway. There's going to be leaks. There's going to be, conferences that they're going to hold on their own. Samsung holds their own conferences now for their phones, for their Galaxy products. For the lower end products, they tend to announce them elsewhere.
I would imagine too. It's not like these companies don't have their own YouTube and they'll be trending on the tech page when they do drop.
Yeah.
So
I think this is just the adaptability to each company to show off how they work on their own timeline versus the timeline of Mobile World Congress. But we'll see. Either way, I'm excited for Mobile World Congress and what's going to be announced there. More so than years past. I think I didn't pay attention at all last year.
I just hope we don't see folding phones taking off. I really don't want every phone to be a folding phone.
Yeah, I don't want to either. And they're expensive. So I don't think they're going to be super popular. I know the Razr is going to be popular.
Expensive and impractical, like, especially like if you're someone who just like twiddles with their phone all day. Those things can only fold so many times.
Yeah, and it's not like they can fold millions of times like your keyboards. Your keyboard buttons are rated for 7 million, 8 million clicks, something like that. these folds can only last like 100,000 times. That happens real fast. Mm-hmm. Depending on how how many times you check your phone, you can get apps that tell you how many times you check your phone a day. And if it's definitely like in the hundreds, then you have probably like 100 days before your phone breaks. Or not even a year. So, yeah, good point on that. I don't want foldable phones to be a thing. Although, Samsung did leak their flip phone style folding phone. Kind of a side note. It's not really important for the podcast. It's not a story for today, but it was leaked. I'm not impressed with it. I don't care about it. The Motorola Razr, yes, because it has a legacy behind it. I'm never going to buy it. I'm never going to recommend someone buy it. But it is cool to see nonetheless. One last story from the tech sector today, the fourth and final story. Keep your phone safe with the SyncStop USB condom. And that's not a joke. The SyncStop USB condom is actually a USB port that you're meant to plug into your existing charger. For example, when you're traveling or when you're in an airport, you need to charge your phone and you're really afraid of someone tapping into, the charger and stealing your data from your cable as it's plugged in to charge. And this is the name of the product. It's the SyncStop USB condom. It's available for $15 on Amazon if you want to buy it. But all it is a USB port with the data lines cut. They're not even there. And it just allows charging on your phone. So no data transmission. It's definitely a cool concept. I just think it's funny because it's called a USB condom. Like, that's the official name of the product. And it also brings the meme to mind where, like, someone's like, I want to be safe on the internet, and there's, like, a condom wrapped on top of the Ethernet cable. You know what I'm talking about? So that's what came to mind when I saw this. But, yeah, especially for those people who are, data conspiracy theorists or people who are really, really obsessed about their privacy and don't want this to happen. It's kind of the similar concept behind, like, credit card swiping at gas stations, right? And so this is kind of there to protect against that. There's two versions of the USB condom that you can buy. You can buy one that's in a case, and you can buy one that's without the case. The one outside of the case is like $7, and then the one in a case is $15. The audience can't see it, but that's what it looks like, depending on how pretty you want it to look or how much you care about that. You can buy whichever one you want. But will I be getting one? No. My data, I do a pretty good job of protecting my data as it is. I really don't travel, so I don't really charge it in places where my data could be at risk. But if things get really bad in the tech sector, maybe I'll buy a USB condom. We'll see. I'll keep it in my wallet if I do. But that's it for the tech. That's it for the tech news today, Ruben. So, that is your cue.
Okay, sir. Well, unfortunately, not many super detailed stories, but I do have quite a few small ones, including two big names leaving to developers. The Rockstar Games co-founder, Dan Houser, is leaving Rockstar. They just announced it. I guess he's been on an extended break since last spring, but his final day is set to be March 11th. I haven't seen any details on why he's leaving, but they basically said that his brother and fellow co-founder, Sam Houser, is going to remain the company's president. And then right after that, we have the Gears of War studio head is leaving to work on Diablo.
Ooh.
Yes.
That could be really good.
It could be really good. It could definitely introduce some new mechanics, and obviously when you have someone who's worked on something else for a while and you bring them on board, it also brings on lots of new ideas.
Yeah.
Rod Ferguson is his name. He announced he's going to leave his role at the studio in March, and then he'll be in charge of overseeing the Diablo series at Blizzard. Obviously, with the focus being Diablo 4, since that is currently what is in the works.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
I wonder I wonder what we're gonna see carried over from Gears over to Diablo, because they're different games.
Yeah, they're two totally different games.
So, unless they want to make a Diablo spin-off game like Gears, although that's pretty ambitious.
Kind of like make it third person instead of bird's eye, or how exactly?
Maybe, or like. I don't know, because I've played more Gears than I have Diablo, to be honest. But that's just me free thinking as far as what the extent of this. We're probably overthinking it, to be honest, as far as what they're gonna do. Probably just gonna go over there and just point fingers at people and tell them what to do, and things will just run as normally as they do, just with someone else in charge. But interesting nonetheless. That Switch.
Next up, I got Fallout 76 is finally coming to Steam in April, with a human NPC expansion, which is kind of a big deal because when this game released, they said this is going to be the first Fallout without any human NPCs.
Yeah, I remember that.
It's going to be called Wastelanders, the expansion, and it's going to bring a new faction-based main quest. And basically, the original main quest has also been revamped. It's going to be coming out on April 7th. The expansion and the release on Steam will be on the same day.
That's so interesting. I wonder what the player base on Steam is going to be.
I don't know. And I'm also very curious because of how bad they've done.
Yeah, how not well received the game was as a whole.
What the cost is going to be.
Yeah. Doggy. We just had a doggy join the podcast, and we just had a doggy leave the podcast. That's fine, though.
Let's see.
Because I don't know the current player-based stats for Fallout 76.
Yeah, and as far as I know, when I looked it up, I think I was only able to get it on, like, Bethesda's site.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm going to do a quick Google search right now, just because they can. Let's see. Fallout 76 player base.
There is also going to be a new reputation system in Fallout 76, challenging you to raise your standing among the factions by helping them out with tasks and quests. The more you gain their trust, the more items and faction-based plans you'll be able to purchase from vendors. There will also be new companions, although there hasn't been much announced about them.
Mm-hmm.
To me, this seems kind of like Fallout New Vegas. There was obviously different factions, and when you helped certain factions, like, they'd gain your trust more, you'd get discounts, new items, but then other factions would hate you.
Would lose you, yeah. Yeah, you'd lose reputation.
And then if you lost too much, of course, they would always attack you on sight and hunt you down.
Well, that's kind of the case with Fallout 4, isn't it? But not so much.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that picky.
Yeah, it's not super picky. Like,
I don't remember. Well, probably, like, between, like, the synths and, like, between the Railroad and, oh gosh, was it Brotherhood of Steel?
Brotherhood of Steel, Railroad, Institute, and then, the main one. Why can't I think of them?
Dude, it's been so long since I played Fallout 4. I'm surprised I remembered that, to be honest.
Oh, man, that's gonna kill me now.
Yeah. Well, like, you probably have, like, the Reavers. Is that a Fallout 4 thing?
No, I don't think so.
Where was I thinking Reavers?
Oh, man.
I honestly don't remember.
That's gonna bother me.
Yeah, we're gonna have to figure that one out real quick. That's fine though. According to PlayerCounter.com, the live player count for Fallout 76 is 34,916 players. It's almost 35,000 players, which is sizable. Yeah, respectable for sure. And I expect that to just rise with the Steam release of Fallout 76 as well.
Especially because there's those certain people who are like, if it's not on Steam, I'm not going to get it.
Yeah. Yeah. But I also wonder just by how much it's going to jump up, because Fallout 76 is an old game at this point, I feel. Especially with the general reviews it received in the beginning.
It's been out over a year now, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so. I want
to say it released around November 2018. I want to say.
No way. November 14th, 2018. Holy shit. It's been out for a hot minute.
Yeah.
Jeez, I'm old, dude. I'm losing track of time. And I'm only 24.
And I found out the name of that faction, and I'm super disappointed. It's the Minutemen.
The Minutemen? Ah! There we go. Dang it.
Old Preston Garvey, another settlement needs your help.
Yeah. Classic meme. Love it. Can't wait till Fallout 5.
Oh, man, I can't wait till Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah, dude. Heard nothing on that.
With ray tracing, hopefully.
Ray traced water. Elder Scrolls 6. I'm gonna just do a quick Google search.
Last video they showed them making like a character and slight landscape, and that was it, I think.
Ooh, so 2 weeks ago, Elder Scrolls 6 could be heading into full production as Bethesda begins hiring spree.
Ooh.
As reported by Games Radar. So, new job listings has led Elder Scrolls fans to believe Bethesda has nearly finished development on Starfield. According to something spotted by a user on Reddit, Bethesda is hiring for a number of programmers to push the bleeding edge of RPG development for PC and consoles, and assist with the quote-unquote implementation of new gameplay features, player and characters' behaviors, combat and powers, mechanics, user interface, etc.
I really hope they don't do the Fallout 4 thing, and they keep the dialogue options the same way they were in Skyrim, because I hate the fact that Fallout 4, it'll tell you like 3 words.
Yeah.
In each of the 4 like options, and then it'll totally say something different.
Yeah.
I mean, I know obviously there will be mods for people on PC, and now console does support mods, so it's not a huge deal if not, but you know,
still.
And then let's see, I have this small story. If you are a fan of Untitled the Goose Game, you can now download the Goose to live on your desktop and totally mess with all your stuff. He basically, he'll run up, he will pull memes from off the side of your screen, and as far as I know, you can add in memes for him to bring in, like you can edit them in the folder.
Yeah.
He will also track mud all over your desktop screen, steal your mouse cursor, and if you close the memes he brings you, he will chase after your mouse.
And steal your cursor.
Yes.
Now, you downloaded this, right?
Madge downloaded it. I did not. And she tried to play TFT like that, and she was having a good time, but she wasn't at the same time. Like, because the Goose will mess with you if you're playing games.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, like, if you're playing, like, a shooter, he will run up and move your, like, where you're aiming and, like, spin you in circles. So, you know. So, I mean, it's an easy download. If you are tired of having him on your screen, you just hold escape and he closes out, so it's not a big deal. Mm-hmm. If you want to download it. I mean, it's fun. Definitely to check out, even if you haven't played the game. I personally haven't played Untitled Goose Game. I don't know if you have.
I haven't. I'd like to, though, because I've seen lots of people play it, and it looks like fun.
But, I mean, it's still a little fun thing you can do, even if you just want to check it out for 5 minutes.
Yeah. It seems really calming. I really like the game design aesthetic of Untitled Goose Game, and the soundtrack's really cool, too.
Honestly, when I first heard of Untitled Goose Game, I thought it was going to be like Goat Simulator. Did you ever play Goat Simulator? Yeah,
Goat. I thought so too. And then it's completely not. And Goat Simulator is a great game.
Yeah. And then next up, EVO 2020, the fighting game tournament lineup is announced.
Woo!
First up, we got Tekken 7, which is to be expected, as that is the latest release, and it was received with positive reviews. Mm-hmm. We have...
There's a small, really competitive community behind it, too.
Yeah.
Lots of people love it.
Obviously, to be expected, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which is going to be interesting because there is a lot of characters.
Yeah. Lots of characters.
I'm hoping someone goes in with, like, one of the worst characters. Like, someone who you typically don't see in a tournament, and I hope they just smash.
Pichu. Rise of Pichu. Yeah, I don't know what the Super Smash Ultimate Pro scene's like at all. I really don't know.
As far as I know, that's like one of the more competitive ones, next to obviously
Melee.
Ultimate Marvel. Yeah, Melee.
Yeah.
We got Soul Calibur 6, Samurai Showdown.
Mm-hmm. I know that one was really, really hyped up. Lots of people really like Samurai Showdown.
That's crazy. I haven't seen anything on that game. I don't know what that is.
so as far as I know, Samurai Showdown is like a reboot of an old game. And when they announced that they were working on it and it came out, lots of people were really excited about it, including the fighting game dude I watch, Maximilian. He was super hyped for Samurai Showdown. He's been playing lots of it. So I do know it's like a throwback game for sure. That's kind of rebooted and updated for the current generation of games. So I never played the original Samurai Showdown, nor do I have an interest in playing the current Samurai Showdown. If there's any game that I'd want to get into right now, it'd be Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. To be honest, that game looks pretty cool. But Samurai Showdown, I know lots of people are excited about that one.
This obviously has nothing. This isn't in EVO, but after talking about reboots, did you hear about that Star Wars fighting game that someone fan made?
No.
It's basically like the. Did you ever play Masters of? Let's see, what was it called? Masters of Terrakasi. Well, basically it was like. There were multiple characters you could choose from, and it was like a fighting game, but with Star Wars characters. So you could be like Luke, and like all of that.
Lay the smackdown on each other.
Yeah, so I was super excited about that. But back to EVO. Dragon Ball FighterZ, which is still pretty popular in the fighting scene.
Yeah.
Grand Blue Fantasy versus Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is returning.
We're gonna see lots of players that haven't been in the FGC for a while make a comeback just for MVC2.
Yeah, I feel like out of all these games, I feel like that one's gonna be the most popular this year. Honestly.
Yeah, it's gonna be hotly contested. We're gonna see for sure Justin Wong compete. He's gonna try and go for that #1 spot in MVC2, just like the old days. Old players for MVC2, like I'm talking about, like Deus Ex making his way back to Marvel. I can see him competing again. I'm gonna see if I can find him on Twitter and see if he's gonna complete with that. Maybe Marlon Pie from MVC3. It's gonna be lots of fun for sure. But yeah, I'm excited to see a lot of old FGC players come out, and especially I'm excited to see Daigo. I want to see if he's gonna compete. I don't expect him to play MVC2 because he's always been a Street Fighter guy. But that'd be fun. That'd be fun to see.
And then we got Street Fighter V Champion Edition and Under the Night in Birth EXE.
That one I have no clue.
Yeah, so. I have no idea what that is yet. Right, and that is it for EVO news. One last deal for PlayStation players. Newegg is offering a $20 off for a 1-year subscription for PlayStation Plus that is available to purchase.
Yeah. And how much of a discount is that?
If it's anything like Xbox's, a year subscription is $50, but let me double check that. Plus yearly.
I mean, it's got to be a pretty good.
Yep, 12-month membership subscription is $59.99.
Dang. Remember when it used to be free?
Yeah.
PSN Network? Mm-hmm. The good old days, man. Gone are those days.
That was the only thing that PlayStation people would brag over Xbox.
Yeah.
We don't have to pay for online.
And now you do. Pretty much.
As for news stories, though, sir, that is all I have. Oh, there are some small news stories. Obviously, Mandalorian Season 2 is coming out October.
October. I'm already marking my calendar. That's 8 months away. 8 months passes by pretty quick.
And then, of course, Falcon and Winter Soldier was locked in for August. So
still happening in August. No delays. Just like every other game.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we'll get that, and then I'm guessing by the time that show is over is when Mandalorian's going to come up.
Yeah, that actually would be great timing. And it'll keep people from unsubscribing from Disney+.
Yep. Yeah, they definitely... I feel like the startup was slow because they didn't have a whole lot of originals, but as they kind of get in the swing of things, hopefully they'll be able to time them out to where, you know, you have a reason to stay invested.
Yeah.
Because against all these big names like Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, they all have their own originals and they come out in abundance.
Yeah, all the time.
Mm-hmm. So they definitely have a lot of competition. I mean, obviously, you have those people who love Disney classics and obviously don't really care about originals, but there's also those people. Chances are, if they love the classics, they probably already own them.
Yeah.
So.
Very true. Very true. And I'm definitely in the camp that, like, I like Disney classics, but I'm not gonna get Disney Plus just for the classics. You know, The Mandalorian is still the only thing I've ever watched on Disney Plus.
And then, I mean, I am not a fan of it, but I do know they also have the final season of... What's that Star Wars cartoon? Clone Wars.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, did you see the trailer for that?
Yes. It's interesting.
I tried watching the first season of that show and I was like, not really into it. And I like Star Wars. And then I watched that trailer and I was like, I have to watch that show.
Yeah.
Because, like, the mood and the, like, animation and voice acting, it all just seemed so much more improved from the first season.
Yeah, well, I think Disney finally found its audience for Clone Wars. Because when it first came out, it was meant for children.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least tweens, right? A whole different generation of Star Wars fans from the two major generations of Star Wars fandom, which was the original episodes, New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, versus the, Phantom Menace, Clone Wars, Revenge of the Sith crowd. And then Clone Wars came out to really tailor to a new generation of Star Wars fans, the ones right after Revenge of the Sith. So I think they kind of let the show evolve into what it became, and then all of a sudden they figured, hey, we have something that's actually enjoyed by a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And this upcoming season of Clone Wars is a result of that, and they've definitely made adjustments compared to season 1 of Clone Wars. So it should be good. Should be really good. I know there's lots of people speculating about exactly what's going on with this new season of Clone Wars because they're comparing it, to Revenge of the Sith because it's in the same timeline.
Uh-huh.
Anakin's hair in this upcoming season of Clone Wars is the same hair that he had in Episode 3. There's a clip in the trailer where Anakin's talking to a pregnant Padme.
Yeah.
And so that's, in Episode 3, Padme announces to Anakin that she's pregnant, so people are asking, is this taking place during Revenge of the Sith, before Revenge of the Sith, but retconning some details from the movies? Is this, is Revenge of the Sith going to happen somewhere in between the season,
I would
beginning and ending? Like, it's interesting.
I would imagine it'd probably be flashbacks. Like I said, I haven't seen the show, but I'm pretty sure I've seen Vader in that show. Or
in Clone Wars?
Yeah, or am I incorrect?
I think you're thinking of Rebels.
I might be thinking...
Star Wars Rebels, because he does appear in Rebels.
Okay.
For sure. Because in Rebels, I'm pretty sure Rebels is where we saw the Mandalorian storyline, and then Vader pops up in there to battle Ezra, I think is the character in Rebels, or something like that. But I don't think he's appeared in Clone Wars quite yet.
And Ahsoka Tano is also in Rebels, correct?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure they fight Darth Vader and Ahsoka Tano.
Okay.
Cool stuff, yeah. But yeah, interesting stuff with Clone Wars, man. I have to watch Clone Wars now too.
Can you imagine if... I feel like that would make quite a few people mad if it was just like a retelling with extra details of Episode 3.
Oh, that'd be nasty, dude. That'd be a little sour taste in a lot of people's mouths. For sure. I wonder if we're gonna get like more context as to like what led Anakin to become the Anakin in Episode 3 in the time jump between Episodes 2 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if it's gonna cover that ground there. And if we're really going to see more of what's going on in Anakin's head to really get him to the point that we saw him in Episode 3. Because a lot happened between Episodes 2 and 3. As is hinted in the movies, but we just didn't see it happening. And we also don't see a lot of what's going through Anakin's head and what has gone through Anakin's head in Episode 3 to really push him over the edge to joining the Sith. I mean, of course, we saw the pivotal moment where that happened, but it doesn't happen out of nowhere. And I'm excited to see that journey. Hopefully they'll depict that in this season of Clone Wars.
It's going to be an interesting one, sir.
Yeah, but still, I have to watch Clone Wars.
Same.
Maybe Rebels.
I definitely got to watch Rebels if that's when the whole Mandalorian story takes off, because I need to be well versed in the history of the black saber.
Yeah.
The dark saber.
The dark saber, yeah, dude. That's every time I think about it, I'm like, it's just so cool. Giancarlo Esposito cutting himself out of his TIE fighter with that dark saber. The biggest WTF moment in the season so far, I think. Even more so than the Baby Yoda. Because like Baby Yoda was like, oh shoot, like it was like a holy cow moment. Mm-hmm. And then when Giancarlo Esposito rises from his TIE fighter with the saber, you're like, oh! It's definitely, for me at least, it was more impactful as far as like implications for the rest of the show.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. And I've been searching the internet for a Mandalorian Halloween outfit because I want to get it. There's nothing out yet, but
oh, they'll be in abundance, I'm sure.
Yeah, because it's either that or I'm a stormtrooper, and I just get jokes the entire Halloween night. Aren't you a little short to be a stormtrooper? Yes, that's why I'm a stormtrooper.
You gotta say,
joke.
I'm this way, that way I don't bang my head like that one stormtrooper.
Yeah, I should like have that video like on my phone, be like, yeah, look at my my buddy that we joined the stormtrooper forces together. This is what happened to him.
we got a small redesign in the clones after this happened.
Yeah, boonk. Yeah, totally cool. I definitely want to be a Mandalorian for this Halloween, dude. I've been wanting to be like Boba Fett or Jango Fett ever since I was like 14, but
and now even more so.
I just want to be a Mandalorian, dude. And Mandalorian armor kits are expensive.
I'd be
on Etsy.
I'd be super shocked if they didn't have like, especially the more like defined Mandalorian armors, like the armor lady. Like her helmet.
Yeah, the Forge Master.
There we go. I would assume they've got to come out.
If not officially licensed, then on Etsy.
You are going to see a lot of Baby Yodas this year.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh, did you see the new Baby Yoda figure? It's like a couple $100.
Yeah.
It's like realistic. I want one. Not gonna lie. I want one just to carry it around. Strap some animatronics to the inside of it, make it move.
That'd be sick.
With like a basic Raspberry Pi board. Just program like a little head tilt and like eye blink and ear twitch. Something like that. It'd be dope, dude.
Oh, I had a thought and I just...
Build-A-Bear?
Yeah. There you go. That's gonna be... They're not there yet, right? They just announced that they're going to be coming.
Last I heard, it was just an announcement. I don't think it's happened quite yet. If it is, I'm gonna try to get it. Why not? Let me see. Build-A-Bear. I've been to Build-A-Bear once physically in my entire life.
You gotta go the full mile. You gotta dress as a Mandalorian, buy an electronic skateboard and just build a pole and then just have a Baby Yoda in a crib next to you.
Yeah. Let's see here. So as of 2 days ago, it's still, it hasn't happened yet. Let's see here.
They're going to make a lot of money when that happens.
Oh yeah, and Build-A-Bear Workshop's going to be full of sweaty Star Wars people. Mm-hmm. Let's see. I don't think they've announced the day when it's going to happen. They haven't revealed the price for it. but it probably won't be cheap.
I would imagine it'd probably be around the same price as the Pokemon ones. Cause they do,
I didn't see how much that was gonna be.
Because they do Pikachu and like Eevee over there, and I want to say they're like $40.
Oh really?
I think so.
Shoot! But I get to build my own baby Yoda. Yeah, I haven't found any articles here. Let's see, debuts and stuff. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything on when it's like on a set day. But I guess we'll find out, right?
Yes,
Soon maybe, because there's like one Build-A-Bear in Tucson that I know of. That's at the Tucson Mall.
That's the one I was thinking of. So
yeah, I don't know any other. I don't know any other ones in Tucson, at least.
But as for my new story, sir, that is all I have to say about that.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I have no other stories as well.
Heard.
So I think that's the perfect place to end the podcast for today. We're right at our traditional hour. Compared to last week, went like 30 minutes over. That's okay. No discussion of the LCS this week. I haven't really watched the LCS games as closely as I'd like to, but
yeah,
we'll discuss that. We'll discuss that next week. And then that's also good because there'll be more games under the belt to talk about. Really get a feel for how we feel about the teams and their standings and whether or not they'll hold on to those standings or not. But with that being said, hi doggy. Of course, that's a reference to the room. But with that being said, we'll go ahead and end the podcast here. Again, thank you everyone for tuning in. We hope that you tune in the following week and all the weeks after that as well to discuss, of course, tech and gaming news. And we will go ahead and play our outro. And we will see y'all next week.
Adios.
Later. Where'd our outro music go? I think it disappeared. There we go. We'll play the classic Battle of the Pogs.
Whoop, whoop.